Hey everybody!
Hey, I'm Janae.
And I'm Nick.
If you don't already know us, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Anyway, today, so first of all, we want to start off by apologizing. We skipped a video. We usually always post. We've been so good about it.
I know.
On Tuesdays and Fridays. And on Friday, we didn't post one, and we don't really have a good reason. We kind of just were really busy and we forgot. Like literally, we were so busy that we forgot. That's so bad. It's a bad excuse. But we were busy with life, with business, with all the things, and it slipped our mind and we feel terrible. But we're back now on our regularly scheduled.
And I'm going to try to get this video up today since it's
today,
Tuesday.
Right, because we were a little behind on this too. We usually would do it at least the day before.
Or over the weekend.
Yeah. Well, things are good. Things are moving along. We're busy people. That's a good thing. But sorry about that. Anyway, here we are. And today for us is Valentine's Day. So if you're watching this on the same day, happy Valentine's Day to you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Aw, yay. So today we want to continue on with where we left off. In our last video, Nick shared with us about his background in television production, which is not what he does anymore, but he talked about how there was a lot that he learned from that he takes into business now. And so I want to give my account of this, my version of this, which is talking about how my past with performing arts has helped me in marketing, and there is definitely a lot. There's a lot that I've learned. So I'm excited to share that with you guys today.
Awesome.
Should be fun. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So I think something you should know about me is that the first time that I performed on a stage in front of people, I was 1.5. I was 1.5.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was a baby. Up there on a stage in a little costume in front of an audience, lights, everything, lights, camera, action. And so, it didn't slow down from there. I just kept going. I was in my first musical when I was 2.5, I think. It was The Little Mermaid, and I was a shrimp. How cute is that? Adorable. I really believed that I was going to get the part of Ariel, which is really sweet.
At 2.5?
I didn't know. I didn't know better. I just was like, somebody's gonna be Ariel. It's gonna be me. Yeah, I didn't really understand. That was my first show, my first musical. But I was just happy to be a part of it as a shrimp, and it was super cute, and everybody loved it. Let's see. I started to take piano lessons and voice lessons, I think when I was 4. I'll have to ask my mom about that, but I'm pretty sure I was 4 when I started that. Like as young as you can, basically start learning that. And I was in dance lessons doing tap and ballet when I was 3, starting then. And then I just kept going, never slowed down, never stopped. But I think that what happened when I got on stage at 1.5 and continued to do so is that I have never known stage fright. Honest to God, I have never known stage fright. I get feelings of adrenaline and excitement before a performance or something, but I don't get anxiety about performing. And what this looks like now in marketing, for me anyway, is I can stand up and give a presentation and no problem. Public speaking, no problem. Presentations, no problem. And I know that a lot of people, that's something that really stresses them out, right? When they have to present, when they have to get up and go through everything, when they have to do that big moment with the client or their team or whatever. And I just get really jazzed about it. And I feel good about it. I get the adrenaline, and I kind of like turn it on. Like I turn on the little like showbiz part of myself, and I enjoy it.
But it's not just the presenting, it's standing behind the idea.
That too.
With confidence, because when you're presenting, the other half of it is that if you're presenting to a client and you don't seem confident in selling the idea, sometimes it's hard for the client to see it as a winning idea because you don't seem very confident in the way you're presenting it. So,
and sometimes, some people can actually feel confident but don't appear confident because they get nervous about just the the talking part or the presenting part. And then an idea that they feel good about, it seems like they're not sure because they get a little stage fright, right? So I feel that this really does benefit me because I can communicate that I am confident about it because I've got that just like in my blood, in my DNA since I was little, right? That's something that that I can just do. So I think that that's really helped me in a lot of ways. So let's think other things. Throughout elementary school, middle school, I was dancing, and I started doing competitive dance when I was 8 years old, I think was when I first went to my first competition.
Did you get to regionals?
We went straight to nationals. I mean, we were really good. We would do like the big national.
It was like a community.
No. We were really
I don't
good.
know the system.
We were really good. We did do like regional competitions, and then but we would go to like the big. Anybody out there was a dancer. I don't know if dance caravan competitions are still a thing, but that's what we used to do. And we'd usually go to Las Vegas for the biggie for like a week. Do these giant competitions that were like, it would be like a week of like workshops where they bring in other teachers, like famous dance teachers, like choreographers for like famous people. Yeah, it was a big like week-long intensive, and they would bring in like famous dance teachers to do workshops. They were like the choreographers for like famous singers and stuff. I want to say one of these guys was like one of the choreographers for Britney Spears for her music videos or something. It was so cool. It was like celebrities being there, basically, celebrities of the dance world. And it would be so much fun because those workshops were not supposed to be competitive, but they were definitely competitive. It was like all of the dancers from all of the competing teams from all of the US or whatever, doing these workshops at the same time in like a kind of like a ballroom or convention center with a stage. And you could be noticed, and you could be like they would pick some of you to like bring you up on stage to like demonstrate for everybody else if they thought you were doing a really good job. So the competitive part of me was born to stand out from the literal crowd of dancers, the best dancers. Everybody's there to compete, and we're all learning brand new choreography together, right? And it was hard. I mean, they would do really hard stuff, and we all were dying to get noticed because we thought, not only is this really good for us to be like up there and looking good and all this stuff, but also like this could mean you could become a famous dancer because they're famous choreographers, they know things, they know people. So like this competitive streak in me was like absolutely there. It was there with
outside of the competition.
Outside of the competition, even.
Because were there some people that maybe didn't know that was also a competition going on?
I think we all knew. I think we all kind of felt that. But it was like, so it was different, right? Because there was the part where you and your team are gonna dance and you want to win the gold or whatever. And then, as I got older, I also started to do solo dance in competitions and like duet and trio and stuff like that. So there was that as well in like smaller groups or even by myself where I was trying to, win awards. But then there was this thing, which was like kind of like, it was like a pseudo tryout for potential stardom, I guess. It was really like, just like exciting and stuff. And there were a few times where I was one of the people called up on stage. I even remember, one of the teachers, I can't remember his name now, but I see him in my mind. He had like, this was a long time ago. He had spiky hair with pink tips. He was really cool. He like talked to my mom and told her that he thought that I like had the potential to be like a famous dancer, which was so cool. No, I mean, we didn't do anything about that. I was gonna say, I didn't what follow up on that, but like that was really good for the old self-esteem. That like made me feel like I wanted to keep going and continue. Basically, as I'm sure you can already deduce, I still have within me a competitive edge, a desire to be above the rest, to stand out, and to kind of win that positive feedback. That is what really lights my fire and really gets me going. And what that looks like in marketing is that I always give 110% to my clients on everything. I will not allow myself to show up to a meeting having half-assed anything. Like, I have to come with more than you expect, better than you expect. I want you to literally say, wow, to me. Like, I want you to be like, this is great. You did an awesome job. Like, this is good work, right? That is like, I live for it. I live for it. No, but like, that's how I know if my client is so satisfied that they're like wowed and they are getting more than they expect out of a marketing idea, marketing campaign, an audit, a presentation, whatever it is. That's how I know I'm doing a good job. And that's the kind of service that I like have to provide. I have to. Like, it's in here. It's like deep within me because of this background. And I think another thing that really reinforced that also was that simultaneously I was doing theater. And so when you audition, you know, again, it's like auditioning is different though, right? Because when you audition for a show, typically, a bunch of other people are also there to audition for the same roles. You go in one at a time, usually. Sometimes they do it a little different, but typically you go into a room one at a time. It's just you and, you know, a table of people who are judging you. And you do whatever you were supposed to do. You sing 16 bars, you do a monologue, you do a cold read, whatever it is that they want you to do, and you give them your resume, whatever. You've got just a small window of opportunity to dazzle them, but you also do not know what you're up against. And you don't know who just went in before you, who's gonna come in after you. There were always people who would be like, oh, you should always wanna be the first one, like sign up for the first slot. And then there were people who were like, no, sign up for the last slot because like everybody else will be a blur and then they'll go home thinking about you because you were the last one. And then other people are like, no, because they'll be exhausted. Like, everyone had different philosophies, you know? And so you're kind of just like, I'm just gonna take whatever slot I can get and just like hope that it's the best, because sometimes that's not what it's really about, right? Yeah. But you don't know who you're up against. You don't know if you really are the best and most qualified, or if there were 5 other people who came in and were more what they were looking for. And you also don't know if maybe they've already typecast it in their mind to a certain degree and you're going against something like that. They give you no live feedback generally. They give you no indication. I tried to always really read their facial expressions to like the minutia of movement of their mouth or eyes to be like, okay, they're liking me. They're not sure. They aren't even paying attention to me because they keep writing something. Like, you know, I'm like trying to do like all of this while also performing at the same time.
Are you thinking of what I'm thinking?
What are you thinking?
The auditioning in Entourage where Drama gets the same guy.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
And he's
yes.
like, could you put your phone away?
Yes.
And performing my craft.
Oh, I swear there were auditions I would do sometimes where somebody would never look at me. Like, they would just be writing the whole time or flipping through other resumes.
And for all you know, they were like, she was fantastic.
You don't know. And maybe that's like an intimidation tactic to see how you perform under that kind of pressure. Like, you just don't know. Or maybe they are generally just like they've made up their mind already and they're just letting other people come through because they have to. You don't know.
You don't know.
So it's really hard to continue to do your best without any feedback. To continue to give it your all in a small window of opportunity when you are unsure of what those other people have already decided or already thinking. So this manifests itself a lot of ways for me today, positively and negatively. Do I get anxiety about this stuff? Sure, of course I do. No, but really, like, I think of this kind of like a pitch, right? If I meet a new client and I'm gonna pitch them what I do, I have no idea if they've already got somebody on their team doing marketing that they really love or don't love. I'm not sure if they just got, another pitch from another person right before me, or if they're going to get one tomorrow. I don't know what I'm coming in up against, but all I can do is be honest and give them my best representation of what I do in that small window of opportunity. Just like that. And you can hope that you can throw some things in there that really leave a lasting impression. Just like with these, picking the early slot, the late slot. Oh, there was a while where you had to know, like, they only want black and white headshots. Like that was early. That was like when I was really young. It was black and white headshots. And then at one point it switched and they're like, oh, if you have a black and white headshot, that looks really dated. You have to have color headshots. Or I learned a tip from like a auditioning workshop I did that was like, put your resume in purple font, because purple is a color that is more associated with memory. So like it's like scientifically proven that people remember things in the color purple better, so they'll remember yours better.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did. I did every trick in the book.
You want to hear something crazy about purple ink?
Yeah.
Salvador Dali only wrote in purple ink.
Is that so?
And I'm wondering if it's for that reason.
Who knows? But that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
On my iPad, I use purple ink.
Hey, there you go.
I thought it was just like a random one-off thing, but it might have something to do with
I did do purple ink on my... It wasn't like hard to read. It was like an eggplant purple.
You didn't do light purple
on white
top
paper.
Of lime green paper?
No. Oh, and that was another thing. You should not use like different colored paper, but you shouldn't just use printer paper. You should use a nice stock, because then when they touch it, it's a better like feeling. These were the little tiny details that you could do so that you made the most of your audition. Like literally, you were trying anything. No. That would have come across.
I feel like I've heard stories.
But it's like there were people who would try too hard. Like here's another thing. Let's say I was auditioning for the role of Annie in Annie, which I was in that show a couple times. You wouldn't want to show up wearing a red wig and singing tomorrow, because that's a bad look. That's just a faux pas. It's taboo. You don't do it. Everybody knows you don't sing a song from the show and you don't come in costume. But you could do some subtle association. You could wear a red dress. You could sing a song that sounds a lot like the style of the music from that musical. You can, tomorrow is like a positive song about endurance and perseverance. You can find a similar piece that has a similar message. These were like the little tricks that you would do.
So when you're thinking about like approaching a new client, if it was like a coffee shop, you wouldn't come in and be like too on the nose about it when you're trying to pitch them? Is that kind of how you carry that?
I think it's similar to like if you go to a job interview and you come in wearing a 3-piece suit and everybody else comes into the job just wearing business casual, like looking nice but not looking, and you've got your briefcase and stuff. It's like everybody kind of is like, whoa, okay, like, okay, got it. I don't know. It's like you went a little too far. You took it a little too far, right? You have to, there's a balance, because you don't want to show up looking like a slob either. Then it looks like you don't want it. It's like finding those little things that can maybe help set you apart, things that leave a lasting impression. One of those things for me is that I have really nice business cards, and whenever I hand them to people, people usually go like, oh, this is nice. I like this. Like, because it feels good, and it has like rounded edges. So that's just, it's not a typical business card. And people I think like that. So stuff like that is like the version of how I'm doing that now. And kind of trying to...
You're like plussing all the little details around the main thing, which is your service.
And you don't, yes, but you also, it's like you want to be respectful when you cold reach out to someone, you give your elevator pitch. You don't want to literally do a tap dance and hand them a plate of cookies, because that comes on like, what are you doing? You still have to follow the rules, the unspoken rules of how these things are done. But within that, you don't want to do what everybody else is doing. You don't want to be the fifth Jessica singing, Memory from Cats with a printer paper resume because you're all going to blend together, right? And like I said, you don't know who comes before you or after you. You don't know what their current situation is.
Yeah.
So these are kind of the things that I think about from in that regard. But more on the subject of theater, because I feel like theater is like one of those things that has taught me so much about life, but also about marketing. So when I was really, really devoted to theater as I got older. In high school, when I was a teenager, I was doing sometimes multiple shows at once. And then in college, I continued to do theater, musical theater, stuff like that. And it was really formative. So I worked under a lot of different directors, and directors always have a style, a vision, different ways in which they're going to approach what they're working on, right? So I had some directors who, quite frankly, were terrible people. They were awful. Their methods were to break you down. Their methods were to traumatize you into learning your lines and your part. They would break you emotionally. They would hurt your feelings on purpose. They do it to everybody. Like, I remember certain shows. I remember one show in particular. It was, I guess I'll say what it was. It was Little Shop of Horrors, which was objectively one of my favorite roles. I was Audrey. It was so much fun. I loved that show. I loved that role. It was a really good cast of people, and our Audrey 2 was legit. It looked so good. But the director, she was so mean, and we would all cry. I remember tech rehearsal week, people just losing it. There was one guy who got so mad that he literally walked out of the rehearsal, and we were like, is he coming back? What's going on? What are we gonna do? We can't replace him. He was just so livid, and I was really, I don't know why this is. I don't know why some directors think this is a good idea. But
was it their management style, or was it
this
just they were
this
just
is
a
what
bad
I'm getting
director?
at, is that it's kind of like management style. Everybody has different philosophies, and her philosophy involved being extremely tough and really focusing on the negative. And we would do one-on-one rehearsals where we would do intensives, where it would just be me on the stage and the director in the audience, and we would go over all of my lines for an hour. And she would, with nobody else on stage, so it was just me, just sort of pretending everybody else and everything else was there. I had to still do blocking and stuff. And she would seriously, I'd start a line and she'd be like, no, start again. And I'd start it and she'd go, no, again. No, again. And I'm like, why? What's going on? And she's like, don't you hear what you sound like? Do it again. You'll know when you've got it right. And it's just impossible.
Oh my God.
Impossible, breaking you down. And yet, I still really loved that role. I didn't like working with her. Nobody did. She was so mean. And just like I said, traumatizing to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I did end up giving a performance that I was really proud of. And I think that, I don't know, I never walked out. I stuck with it, and it was a sense of personal pride for me, to stay the course and to try to figure out, what is it that you want from me? What is it that you're looking for that I'm not doing? Because if you want me to keep doing it over and over again and you aren't telling me, we have to see eye to eye here. Yeah. We have to come to an agreement. We're gonna open this show. The show is gonna open, and we are gonna, it's going to have to happen. The show must go on. I don't know. I can't figure out why I can't do this the way you want. I have tried what seems like everything, but I'm not giving up. I'm not backing out. We have to put something together that has to go in front of audiences, right? And this is honestly something that happens in marketing sometimes. You work with a team, a client, a business owner, and they have a vision and they don't know how to communicate it. They don't know what it is but they know what it isn't. And they just want you to keep giving them options, more, more. And it's frustrating and it's hard, but like at the end of the day, you have to get something out. A campaign has to happen, an ad has to go. You have a deadline to meet, and you have to work together. And it's hard, it's grueling, and it is sometimes traumatizing. But like, I have the ability to see those moments through. I have learned how to say the show must go on. We have to come together on this, and we have to figure this out, even if it takes doing something 1,000,000 times, so we can communicate and understand what we're trying to do here. We're approaching it from different angles, from different viewpoints. And that's not all directors are that way either. I've had some incredible directors with very different approaches who are more like, let me just see how you want to do this. And then you do it and they're like, yeah, I like it. And that's it, you know? They're more focused on everybody giving like their own authentic thing. And that's true again with marketing clients. Sometimes they're just like, well, you're the expert, so just whatever you want to do. And you're just sort of like, really? Like, are you sure? Because I mean, that's great, but like, okay, cool. Yeah, I love that. I love when you get that trust, and they go like, yeah, you know what you're doing. Let's see it. And then you show it, and they're like, great. You know, they might have one or two things to say, like, what if we did it like this instead? Can we see that as an option? Again, that's very much what a director could do as well. So to me, this feels very similar, and it feels very familiar. And I think that also there's like a certain amount of like teamwork, but also respect that an actor has with their director. They go in to put something together. They create something together. They rely on each other. One needs the other in order to do what they have to do. But an actor is still like respectful of the director, listening to the director, has expectations of what they need from the director in order to do what they do. But that's very much how I approach my relationships with my clients as well. Like, we're here to create something together. We need each other. We will work together and bring our separate ideas, but also like the things that they do and the things that I do come together to make something happen, to make good marketing happen. But again, continuing on the theater thought here, something that I loved about theater was getting into the mind of a character. So no matter what character you would have, it could be a comedic character, a serious character, a lead, someone more, supporting, a villain, an ingenue, a mom, a kid, whatever, right? I would have a process, and every actor has their own process, but I would have a process where I would basically sit down and kind of go through a series of questions about this character and either find the answers within the script or just make up the answers to help inform my character. So for example, let's say that I was cast in the role of, I don't know, give me something.
What's that lady's name from Sweeney Todd?
Mrs. Lovett.
There you go.
That's a great, okay, so I'm Mrs. Lovett. So that's a good complex character. But I would start out by being like, what, like kind of like a personality profile. What is my name? Mrs. Lovett, but what's my first name? Do we know that from the script? I don't remember. Probably put that in there. When was I born? What's my birthday? I could probably deduce from the script how old she's supposed to be and what year it is, and then work backward from there. But would I know a day? Sometimes the script might tell you their exact birthday. That might be a part of the script. Sometimes it's not. So then I think about it and I'm like, what zodiac sign does this character seem like? Okay, maybe she's a Scorpio. Okay, I'm gonna put her birthday. Let's say she was born on Halloween. Like, that's fun, and then that informs my character a little bit more. When she's like, what was she like as a kid? did she have siblings? Did she have parents who were around? Again, this might be in the script and it might not. And so you may have to think about the way she reacts to authority to inform what she probably, had parent-wise. And you can completely create things, but when you come up with this backstory to your character, you're in their head. You know their life, you understand their motivations, and that helps you to perform it so much better because you've got a full picture of a human being rather than just words on a page. So this is exactly how I feel when I approach marketing. I love creating customer profiles, the ICA, ideal client avatar, or ideal customer avatar, because I think about, let's say that I'm putting together a video ad, producing it, but my first question is, who is this for? Who is going to see this? And I, need to deduce who our audience is. What do they like? What other ads are they seeing? Why would this one be more important? What's going to speak to them most to get them to click, to buy, whatever it is, the goal that we need here? Getting in the mind of a character is a lot like getting in the mind of a customer. And I think that when I view customers holistically rather than just mindless zombies clicking add to cart, which honestly, a lot of people approach marketing that way. They will tell you customers are stupid. You have to spell everything out for them. Customers just want to buy. Customers are cheap. They will tell, these are generalizations that you will hear all over the place in the marketing world. And I do not believe that one bit, because customers are people. I am a customer. I buy things. You are a customer to many different places, whoever you are. So are you. We all are. And we are people, and we have real reasons that we choose to buy things that we like. It might be emotional reasons because it was really compelling to us. It might be social reasons because we know that our friends are going to think it's cool, or we're getting it for a friend, or we're doing it because we saw someone online that we really admire who has it, and we are like, I'm going to trust them and do it. Right? We are motivated by more than just price and by product description. Those are like just givens. The price and the product description, necessity. But like the reason we buy, the reason we decide that has value to me is something that happens intrinsically in here. And it can be similar in a group of similar people. And so if we can start with that in marketing or in branding as well, because a brand should speak to someone in the same way and communicate well, we get really in that mindset and we ask ourselves all these questions about who these people are and why they do the things they do. And then that helps us to form things that's really gonna matter, speak to them, and help them make them with products that they want, that they don't know that they want yet, but they do. Right? This is what I'm talking about. So like...
Yeah, just like a quick add-on to that, there's a lot of times, the maybe the surface level thinking that you hear is when something maybe doesn't sell well at a certain price, that, the response is, oh, well, it was too expensive. It needed to be cheaper. But really, 9 times out of 10, if a customer is balking at the price, it's because the price you gave and the value that you proposed for that product are mismatched in the customer's minds. A lot of times it has less to do where the price sits within reason, and more to do that the price needs to match the perceived value for the customer to say, I'm going to be buying that. And getting a better understanding of your customers' wants, needs, what they like, what they spring for, what they are conservative on, it helps you showcase the correct values to that customer, and a lot more times you will have better success because you're speaking to them in the language that they understand, and there is a connection where the price and the value align.
Yeah.
But you need to know what their values are,
yes.
because value is it's a tricky one. You know, it's I mean, I guess depending what industry, but you know, like problem solution is very commoditized. So it's like, what's the cheapest thing that's also going to get that done? You know, I think by and large, emotional plays have a lot better hooks, because when you connect with somebody genuinely emotionally like that, it becomes more than a product. So like the value that the customer's seeing in it is huge. So there's a lot of room for the price to kind of maybe hook onto the higher end of that range, and not have a mismatch there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of like many other things that relate, but this could be a very long video and doesn't need to be. But I will talk about another skill that I picked up. When you do community theater and you need people in the seats, what do you gotta do to get the people in the seats? Marketing. So really, I didn't realize it at the time, but from a very young age, I was selling to people. I was doing marketing. I was trying to get them to buy tickets from me, because usually that's what they would do in community theater. Pass out so many tickets to so many people and tell you to go sell them, and you can come back and get more. Sometimes bigger shows would be like, we're having a competition. If you sell the most tickets, you get I don't know, you know, something at the cast party or whatever. So I learned how to sell those tickets really well. I learned that as I got older, in like college, for example. One of the best ways to sell tickets to a show, especially because a lot of these times in college, these were shows that people did not know. They weren't like the big ones. They were like little shows that like are very cool, but not the average person from another department, like the science department, is not gonna know the musical Edges, which is a musical review by Pasek and Paul, which back then nobody knew who Pasek and Paul was, and like nobody's gonna like know these things, right? So what you do, what I learned to do was I would get on like Facebook and write a post about, wow, we're about to go into Tech Week on this musical, and I can't believe what a journey it's been. This show has been so special, and its message about hope and about love and about blah, blah, blah is so great. And tag all the people in it. I love working with you, for visibility. People see this and kind of be like, oh, this means something to someone I care about. This sounds cool and interesting. You put a picture of the set to kind of give an idea. That would get, you know, more tickets sold, like, for sure. You say, like, if you want a ticket, talk to me, I'm selling them $10 or whatever, right? But even still, they might just decide to show up and buy tickets at the door. Something like that is a lot more powerful than just a poster that has the name of the show on it. Although I did help to design some posters, because later on in college, I actually started to direct and kind of produce and do things like that. So helping to design posters and stuff like that was really fun for me. Thinking about, again, what would be like a good representation of the show, but also something interesting that you see that's going to catch your eye and make you kind of wonder more about what the show is about, to go look it up and then come. So I was already thinking in this mindset about how to sell tickets, how to get people to come to the show, you know, messaging about the show, posters, the graphics for it, stuff like that. And that, I think, was what really propelled me into marketing and realizing that I'd been doing it all along. I had been telling people to come to my recitals, my plays, my, you know, whatever it was, like my whole life. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed selling the tickets and getting those sales. It felt good. And then seeing people show up and have a good time. And, you know, it's like, then, yeah, like I said, putting together the posters, the programs, like all the paper materials that go with the show. Even just directing a show can feel a lot like directing a campaign. because there's a lot of moving parts and pieces. There's people to manage. There's the lighting, the sets, the, essentially the branding of your show, of your production, is in all of the visual elements that come together to communicate a message. That's very much like branding. And as I started to do marketing a few years later and started to direct some productions for photo shoots and video shoots, I found myself putting on that old hat again of being like, okay, I've got a vision and this is exactly what we need to do. I need the lighting like this. I need this on the set. We're going to have these props. I need somebody doing this, and we're going to have this and that and this. I had to teach myself a little bit more about camera settings, lenses, lighting for camera, because I was definitely coming more from the theater world of things, which is a different approach. But it helped me pick that up really quickly. And take that on, and then I would just feel such a rush of excitement doing that and producing these campaigns and producing these photo shoots, seeing the results. It was very, very familiar, a very familiar feeling of producing a show, of theater, of like this element of creating something and speaking to people. So honestly, for me, it was something that just happened so naturally, because performing arts already informed in every way what I do now for marketing. It's really still telling a story and being creative. It's just it's not on a stage, It's in the digital world, or it's in paper materials. It's in brand voice, branding with colors and with logos and things like that. But yeah, I really do feel, I see that like the through line, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. You think that wraps it up for this video?
I think that,
I reached a good point.
I feel like I probably did.
Okay.
Although, you know what? It is Valentine's Day. And with your background in TV and my background in performing, do we want to tell them the story about how those backgrounds came together and we met about 10 years ago? Just the short version.
Maybe we tease that for a future video.
If you want to hear the story of how we met.
If you want to hear that story. Because
it's true. And both of our backgrounds came together, and that's how we met. So you leave a
comment, you say, yes, I want to know, or more business videos, and you let us know. We gotta keep them hungry for more.
That's true. That's a good point. Anyway. So that's that. And I don't know. I don't really do much performing like in a traditional sense anymore. But I still love it. I appreciate it. I listen to musicals all the time. I try to go see them like at the Pantages whenever I can. And yeah, I love it now. Our daughter is, she's 3, and she takes dance lessons, and she is doing like learning songs and stuff at her preschool, and does little performances like that. And she loves it. And so it's kind of such a joy to see that and to be like, oh, it's like, I don't know, seeing it from the other side now. And I don't know if she'll continue with it like I did. She doesn't have to. She can do whatever she wants. But if she does, I think that'd be super cool. And I would just be happy to just be a part of it in that way, and like helping support her, knowing what it's like to do all those things. Yeah. But for now, it's fun to see that. And if I wasn't running a business and being a mom, maybe I would still do some community theater on the side, but there's honestly no time. There's no time. So I just am an appreciator of the arts at this point.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you for sharing, Jene.
Yeah, of course.
That was fun.
I hope it was interesting, and I hope it was
was
maybe helpful to kind of draw those lines and see marketing from a different way.
There are maybe other people that might draw those same lines and maybe are going, oh,
yeah,
this is cool.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. There you have it.
So we will see everybody on Friday.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. For realsies this time. And yeah, until then, it's been
As usual. That was bad. Let's say it again.
Okay.
Until then,
it's
business as usual. Bye.
Bye.